What is going on, everybody? It's your boy, the Executioner, and if you don't know, now you know. And speaking of you know why we're here today. Actually, you probably don't know why we're here today. I'm actually here today because I'm going to be talking about the departure of our good friend, aka, our good friend, also I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. Our good friend Poldi, GM forward slash, GM forward slash commissioner forward slash friend forward slash brother forward slash let's see here, Mogul innovator. I guess we'll put it that way. I guess you're probably wondering, guys come and go all the time, from Mogul, and people don't just sit there and put up these, I guess, like little podcasts and whatnot, or talk about them and put up big things. I mean, I don't know if you guys haven't seen the post that Poldi has put up in GBA, but I'm going to go ahead and read it as we go along here. But the reason why I'm doing this is because he's actually taking a pretty big step into where he's going. It's not every day that you just lose contact with somebody from Mogul, like in the sense that you'll like never talk to them again. For me, ever since, I've been playing Mogul for about 10 years now, and I believe this is going to be my 11th year coming up next year at some point. I don't remember, to be completely honest, but one thing that I've done personally is made a lot of great friends. I mean, we're talking people that I still talk to on a daily basis to this day. Maybe not even a daily basis, but just people I even check up on, because of the simple fact that everybody needs somebody. A lot of people, use Mogul for the community, for the simple fact that they they want a place, that they need a place to go sometimes, because it can get lonely out there sometimes, guys. Like, and I completely understand that. And honestly, there's I guess I could say, it hurts my heart sometimes to know that, some people, really struggle to find a place to fit in, and really struggle to, make it different places in life. And it's really tough to get to where you need to be. And it's not that, I feel, I just, it's just the simple fact of, I wish everybody, to get better, and I'd like to see people, move on and become better as they go forward. That's always a big thing for me. But as I said, throughout the 10 years, I've made a ton of friends. I still talk. I mean, there's people I text on a regular basis. There's people I talk to on Facebook Messenger, every once in a while. Everybody's been super cool to me. I mean, there's obviously, the ups and downs of a few people, but really, in all honesty, it's just one of those things where, where Poldi found himself in a spot where he needed to get something going. And so yeah, I guess that's kind of like the reason why I'm really doing this, is just to kind of go over it and kind of just, I guess, talk about my personal feelings and whatnot. So it's kind of a longer post. He posted it about 7 hours ago from when I'm talking. It's about 10:30 here in California, where I'm at. So West Coast time. What's up, West Coasters? Blah, 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 blah. No, I'm just kidding. So we'll go ahead and start reading it. If you don't want to listen to it, then that's perfectly fine. If you already read it, that's even better. But I'm also going to give my opinion as we go along. So it starts off with, so most of you know by now that I'm leaving Mogul because I took a job on the other side of the country, and I'll no longer have time or access to be able to be able to keep playing. I've been in and out of Mogul for over 10 years now, but I've never really stuck until last year around May when I joined NAM. I'm just going to call it NAM. NAM, I'm just going to call it NAM. My goal in NAM was just to win one World Series, because I've never won a World Series in Mogul before. I surpassed my own... I never won a World Series in Mogul before. but I surpassed my own expectations by quite a bit. I made a lot of friends in NAM, and I just said I was going to call it NAM. NAM, and a couple months after joining, Vertigo started up GBA 2.0. I helped with the website and graphics while he did most of the other stuff. And this is the part where he says that he's going to be babbling on about da 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 da. So, first and foremost, I just want to say that, Poldi says that he's been in, Mogul for over 10 years. And honestly, I really haven't even, I never even heard of him until I seen him come into BLM, I believe it was a couple years ago. And I remember him saying, I've played before, but I really don't know too much. And, just like, with him, I extended the door. I'm like, hey, if you ever need anything, just hit up my line. I mean, it's always open. And, I try to extend that to as many people as possible. But he's one of the very few that really took that seriously and took that to heart and really wanted to do that himself. So that's pretty cool. So he continues. At the time, I was going through a lot of my life, just girl troubles and knowing my grandmother, who I was very close to, was going to pass away soon. My job at the time was to take care of my grandma whenever she needed anything, and it didn't feel like a job because it was something I always did anyway. Being home so much and not having a lot of real life friends as it is, I turned to Mogul to help me get through some hard times I was having. To me, it was more than just a fun game to play with you folks you don't really know. I took it a little bit more serious than other folks, and yes, I'm rather competitive, yet I like to think I am fair. So, yeah, I agree. I think that Poldi was more than fair throughout his tenure as commissioner /GM /friend /brother /Mogul innovator. Between GBA and NAM, I had plenty of good distractions to keep me occupied while I was waiting to see what was next for me in my life. Around this time last year, I spent 2 months in the hospital with a bacterial infection that almost took my life. Going through something like that really puts a perspective on things. I knew that once my grandmother passed away, I was going to have to make some changes in my life. About 2 months after getting out of the hospital, I decided to take over GBA myself. At that time, GBA was dead in the water, and I know how much work Vertigo, Maddie, and myself had put into the league. So while I was at home, I figured I might as well see if I have what it takes to run my own league. At first, it was really hard to keep the league full, but the longer we stayed alive, the better things got. I'm proud of where we are today. I think with the rules, league structure, and GMs that we're just as good as any other league out there. So, I do remember when he did spend that couple months in the hospital with that bacterial infection. I actually didn't, I don't remember if I found out before or after, but I do remember, hearing about it from him, and I'm just like, dang, that's pretty crazy. But, yeah, I do, and I also remember around the time when GBA was dead in the water. I will say that Poldi restored my my trust in GBA, because to be completely honest, I didn't trust GBA at all. When I first came in was at the beginning of the 2.0 setup. I was actually in the first one too, but when I came in with the first 2.0 setup, me and Vertigo had like a little bit of a falling out, and it wasn't even that big of a deal, but I kind of let it get to me, and I really didn't want to be around, because it just felt like, I don't know, it just felt completely just wrong at the time for me, and I just couldn't find myself wanting to be in that league anymore, even after all that time of legitimately I don't know. It's really hard to just kind of put in words how I felt. I put in a lot of time in that team, and I felt like there was certain things that happened that I just did not agree on. So but once again, Poldi kind of extended his hand out every so often, was like, hey, come around, come around. So finally, I took him up on his offer, and now I'm sitting on New Japan. Just had a shitty sim, so I don't have anything good to say about my team, because like 2 of my guys just freaking dropped out of nowhere, those bastards. No, but in all seriousness, that's just kind of where it was. So nice job, Poldi. I appreciate you retooling the reputation of GBA, especially with the reputation Vertigo has. I mean, I'll get to Vertigo in a little bit. I mean, I don't have anything bad to say about him, just more of what's been going on. So he continues. In April, my grandmother passed. My mother, aunt, and I were taking shifts, sitting with her at the hospital because we all knew it was coming. I showed up to take my shift, and my mother said goodbye to her, and then left. Then about 20 minutes later, she passed away. The grandmother, by the way. I could tell it was happening, and I didn't know what to do besides call a nurse, who took forever. It's not like there was anything I could do anyway, so I just held her hand until she was gone. My mother and my aunt took it hard, and I've been there, and I'm not too sure what that says. And I've been there for them this past 6 months. As time went on, I've been getting to the point where I feel like it's time to make some changes in my life. I wouldn't be able to afford my own place myself, so I've been living home. Being 32 and living with your parents is embarrassing to me. I have no children's support, so I can get by doing odd jobs here and there, but I want more out of life. That's why I took the opportunity to get out when it was offered to me. No, it's not exactly what I want, and I have no passion for it, but maybe it'll stick on me. At the very least, I'll have some new life experiences to speak of, and maybe it will kickstart me into doing something else. I really don't know what to expect, but I know I'm going to do. But I know I'm good at most things I do. Hopefully, that's enough to get me by. So sorry. I mean, if I'm stuttering a little bit, my bad, guys. I mean, all I do on my job is talk, and it's like a little bit late right now, so I'm a little bit tired, but not tired enough to not do this. I'm hoping actually Poldi hears this before he leaves. I think he's supposed to be leaving tomorrow, but I'm not exactly sure. So just, I guess, he talked about his grandmother passing. I can definitely say, I know that feeling not too well. I've had all of my grandparents pass away. All 4 of them, I should say. Losing my grandma from my dad's side was probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to go through, because it was, she basically, helped my mom and dad raise us, and I seen her probably, 3 or 4 times out of the week, every single week, for my entire life, probably. And so, I mean, I couldn't imagine, living with her and whatnot, and like you did, Poldi. So I mean, nothing but strength and love there, because of the simple fact that you took that on as your challenge. And and I'm pretty sure you were, as you were going through some stuff, you found yourself wanting to use that as also another way of getting out of the rut you felt you were in. Trust me, I mean, we've all been there, and I definitely can say that I can attest to that as well. It's in you said being 32 and living with their parents is embarrassing to me. Hey, man, people go through some crazy shit all the time, man. I mean, I would always want to be able to be able to go back to my mother or my father, if life really just brought you down to that level, really, at any point in my life. I mean, obviously there is a point where you're not going to have them, obviously, but you do find yourself really, really gutting it out as we go forward. I think the opportunity that you're actually taking on is actually going to be pretty cool, because you're going to be able to meet a few people a few new people, maybe even a lady friend or guy friend. I think you're into lady friends. No, but yeah, so that's pretty cool. He also goes on to say, with all that being said, I think you can see that Mogul, while it's just a silly little game, has been helping me get through some tough times and has, without a doubt, been a welcome distraction. Obviously, it's not the game itself that helped me, it's the interaction with the people. With that being said, here's a little something, because I don't have a lot of time, for each of the people who I've had encounters with in my time here. So he goes on to thank people in different ways. I'll go ahead and I'll read them off, and maybe I'll give my opinion on a few people. So the first person he thanks is Vertigo. Thanks for letting me help you get GBA back up and running again. I know you might not see this, but if you do, I really enjoyed the partnership we had, and I hope you'll come back someday and be proud of what we accomplished here. So, good old Vertigo. I've known Vertigo for I'm almost positive like 95% of my Mogul days, my Mogul years, whatever. I've known Vertigo, and it's kind of sucky to see that that he likes to, or that he finds himself starting these leagues like this, making a huge impact, and then just kind of disappearing. Now, I don't know why. I think the first time around was just some family problems. So, I mean, I know a little bit more than that, but I'm also not going to share it. I just know it as family problems. And, also fellow 49er fan. So, Verdi, if you ever see this, man, go Niners. Sucks that we lost Jimmy G, but it is what it is. He'll be back next year. So, yeah. And then next up, he thanks Matty Noakes. He says, you know the ins and outs of Mogul more than anyone, maybe even Clay Dreslow himself. Having you to bounce ideas off of from implementing systems you've suggested has really helped me mold GBA into what it is today. You're a top-notch GM who thinks outside the box, and I respect that. I absolutely agree. I've always had a lot of Mogul respect for Matty Noakes. I say Mogul respect because I only know him as a Moguler. I don't know him, personally or his personality or anything like that. But I've seen him, what he's done in FCM with Andy and whatnot, and I think it's really cool that he's kind of like that. Just really durable guy that can really get it done. And as Poldi said, think outside the box. He goes on to thank me, and if you hear me sniffing in the background, it's not me. I'm not crying or anything. No, I'm just playing. I'm really not crying. I have shitty allergies, guys. I live in Fresno. I'm like in the fucking dust bowl. I hate it. I absolutely hate the fucking allergies here. It's horrible. Anyways, he goes on to thank me. He says, we met back in BLM and became fast friends. I knew I could always ask you questions about Mogul, and you would always help me out. On top of that, you've always just come off as a guy I could chat it up with and not worry about offending you in any way. You seem you seem a lot like me in that way, and I've always appreciated that. Also, for my money, you're one of the best GMs in Mogul. I swear he said that. I'm not making that up. I'm not making that, because I know I'm the best. No, but it's true. We did become pretty fast friends. Like I said, when he came in, I think the biggest thing for me is when I see there's a new GM that comes in to Mogul, it's always, hey, if you ever need anything, if you ever need any help, I'm always here. I'm always trying to help you out, because I remember being there. I remember being there the very first league I was ever in, bottom of the ninth, Mogul. Rooney and Crowley, whatever the hell you want to call them, ran that league. And I remember coming in, and I still hate those bastards, because they were the only two that had Mogul, and everyone else had to get their freaking team in overalls from what they were given to them on like a text-based bullshit. And I remember, like, for years, like 4 fucking years, I was so bad at this game, guys. Like I thought like the first time I ever had an all 80 team, I thought I was the greatest thing ever. Like, and I was like 2 years into Mogul and barely having my first ever all 80s team. I was like, yo. I also I did start when I was 16, so that could have had a little bit to do with it. But seriously, like, oh man, nobody was there to really teach me, and I kind of hated that because there was so much to learn. It was so competitive back then. You know, it's still competitive nowadays. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, we're talking guys that were, you know, in the chat days on end, talking shit, going crazy. I mean, it was an absolute. It was awesome. it was awesome, but it was a really predatorial time because it was like, man, if you're not winning championships, if you're not going to the playoffs, then who the hell are you? You know, if you're not making big trades, if you're not trading off prospects for those big top guys. I mean, if you've ever seen me, you know, the way I GM nowadays, it's because of that. Because I finally I got to understand how it all came about and how it all happened. So I don't want to get too much into that, but like, yeah. So I say that like the biggest thing for that I kind of put forth to everybody else, and it's not something that you have to do. But if there is a new person that ever comes in, you know, extend your hand. Extend that door. Hey, if you ever need anything, let me know. Because I promise you, those guys will have questions. You know, even if it's just one question and they never talk to you ever again. It is what it is. You made a little impact. That's all you could really do. And it's also good for Mogul. Because we're literally sitting here with like 4 leagues left. Maybe even 5. And they're just barely making it sometimes. You know, in MLR, we're having a great time. We're you know, there's a bunch of people that know each other. We're all really good friends, but there's only like 18 of us. You know, GBA, you know, they're having a great time. They're kicking it with a lot of great people, but there's only like 18 of them too. You know, and NAM and FCM, I don't really have too much familiarity with them. I was in FCM for a little bit, and they've always had like the top most active league out of everybody, which is super cool. But Mogul is a dying brand. And I feel like a lot of it has to do with those guys that I used to play with never extended the olive branch to anybody else except themselves. And it's not, I'm not saying that in the sense of, you know, oh, they were just a bunch of assholes, even though a lot of them were. It's just that they didn't foresee them being the bearers of the future of Mogul. And, you know, you might be thinking, man, it's just a game. It is what it is. But, you know, what I want to do is I want to continue Mogul going forward because, I mean, the whole reason why Poldi is putting up this thing is because of what Mogul is, what the community is all about. We bring people in. We you know, we extend that olive branch, and we, you know, we tell them that, you know, how to play the game, what to do, and then they get to know everybody else, and they become really good friends. That's what Mogul's been about for me, and I think that's what Mogul continues to be because of the simple fact that there's people who just don't have a place to go all the time. There's the people need somewhere they can go and talk to people when they are lonely. It is what it is. It happens all the time. And I mean, I'm a really competitive person when it comes to this nature. You know, especially when it comes to doing anything competitive where there's all kinds of eyes on me. Man, put me in. I'm there. I want to show off what I'm capable of. I mean, you could take that as you want, arrogant, cocky, whatever, but I just found myself, it's fun for me. It's really, really fun for me. But I also see it at the same time as there's so much to do, and there's, you know, so much to do, so much to see. Wow, I was really about to say that. There's just a lot about Mogul in general that makes it extremely, extremely fun. And the community that we're talking about is just that, extremely fun. So if you do see somebody new, ask them if they need help. Ask them, hey, if you ever need advice on a trade, let me know. Because what ends up happening is guys come in, they get, oh my God, they, oh man, I just want to start blurting stuff out, but I can't. I don't want to be like that right now. Guys come in and they get absolutely destroyed in trades, and their teams end up like shit while those other guys make it up to the top. And unless there's somebody there to be like, hey, what the hell is this? Like, no. You better stop right there. Because of the simple fact that those things happen is the reason why Mogul rarely ever grew. Because those people came in, they got shit on. What kind of trade is that? It's their first day in. It's their first week in. It's their first month in. And they're getting shit on? Come on now. We got to do a lot better than that. I mean, obviously, if you want to give them shit just because you're really good friends with them, or, sometimes it is what it is, and you're just trying to, you're just trying to get them to see that, it's just the kind of environment sometimes that's around, then understandable. But I see way too damn much where guys are trying to get what's theirs and trying to win, da-da-da-da. Hey, I love to win too, but karma, fucking karma, bro. It always comes back to bite you in the ass. I've seen plenty of people make the worst trades and try to take advantage of newer GMs. And you want to know how many championships I've seen them win? Zero fucking championships. Because it all comes back. Just ask yourself, how many World Series do you have? Okay, now put that in perspective of how many people have you helped. Put that in perspective, because of the simple fact, and I will say there's also other GMs who are just so damn good that it just doesn't even matter how many people they helped or how many people they destroyed in trades. All that matters is that they won because they're just that damn good. But I've seen plenty of guys. I've seen I've seen plenty of guys go years and years without championship rings, and they're just complete dicks. And then on top of that, they don't even want to. Okay, I'm just gonna stop. Next one up. Damn it. So next one up, he thanked Manny. Good old Manny. He says, you've been a tough negotiator in trades and just a good active GM all around. We've made a lot of deals with each other, and I probably made my last deal with you in NAM just yesterday. You would always ask me my opinion on trades, and when a GM I have so much respect for you ask me their trade opinions, it tells me that I've been doing something right. Also, the simming help you gave us in GBA will not be forgotten. So Manny is a great guy, and I've known him just as long as I've played Mogul, just like Vertigo. I mean, I like to give Manny a lot of shit because he was one of the guys that he was a commissioner in like the second league I was ever in. He always just said he was just a figurehead, but to me, I always looked up to him because I always seen the deals that he made, what he does, and it helped me better myself. Next one up is Incognito. He goes on to say we've had a handful of enjoyable conversations about Mogul, and you were always online late like me, so that's usually when we would talk. Especially back when I first joined NAM. You were a heck of a GM, and it was an honor facing you in 3 straight World Series in NAM. I'll always remember you as the first lady of Mogul, and that as a winner because that's all you do. So I don't know Incognito too well, but I've always seen her around, and it's always super cool to know that she's around and winning. I mean, 3 straight World Series, whether you lose or not, that's pretty damn amazing. So shouts out to her, nice job. Next up, he thanked Lou. So he says, speaking of winning, You and Incognito are right on par in that sense. I've always been impressed by the way you constantly win in both NAM and GBA. You don't always have the sexiest team, but you find a way to compete no matter what, and I respect that. I always remember the countless negotiations we had when I first joined NAM. You were a tough customer and a good fella. So I also don't know Lou all that well, but I can definitely say that he is definitely a tough customer. We've negotiated a few times, and he's really pleasant to talk to, really easy to trade with in terms of not in terms of him being a tough customer in trades, but just because of the way he communicates and the way he puts himself out there to make sure that he's not a complete jackass, and that's super cool. Next one up, he thanks Eric. He says, you've been in every league for 10 plus years. You must eat, sleep, and breathe Mogul. While we haven't had a lot of personal conversations, we have made quite a few deals, and you're always someone I can count on to get right back to me. Mogul needs more GMs like you who just can't get enough of Mogul, and that's absolutely right. I mean, I've known Eric as long as I've known, like my niece. Jeez, oh my God, it's kind of weird to think that, my niece is going to be 10 this year? Damn, I've known a lot of these guys as long as I've known my niece, and Eric, yeah, definitely. I don't think he eats, sleeps, and breathes Mogul. I know he absolutely loves Mogul. I've never seen Eric. Eric was never the type of guy to, be on 24/7. But Eric was always the type of guy to make sure that his lineups were set, trades were being done, his team was up to par. He really found the way. However he did it, he really found a great way to work, sleep, and breathe Mogul without Mogul interrupting his life, it seems. So hats off to you, Eric. Next up, Poldi goes on to talk about Critical. I appreciate you giving GBA a try, and I hope you're enjoying yourself. I know you've been through a lot this past year, and I wish you the best of luck in the future. That's what he has to say for Critical. I've known Critical for 3 or 4 years now, ever since coming back into the Mogul fold a few years ago and coming into BLM. Critical, he's just your typical New York asshole. No, but in all seriousness, Critical, you're a good dude. He's absolutely right. I do hope you are giving GBA a try in terms of enjoying yourself, because it is pretty fun. I mean, we've talked plenty of times, so super cool. Sir Meow Meow, I appreciate you trying to spruce up activity by always trying to go to Trade City. You seem like a good guy, and you're a valuable member of GBA. Best of luck to you, and hopefully someday that all that trading leads to some championships. So I've known SMM for quite some time. Man, there's really not much to say, man. He's absolutely right. Poldi's absolutely right when he says that he's a valuable member of GBA, because I feel like he's just a valuable member of the Mogul community in general, because he kind of shows that it doesn't matter who you are, whatever part of walk of life you come from. It's cool. Like, welcome on in. Next up, he goes on to thank Hokie. Hokie, I've always had a lot of respect for you as a GM. You're the type of GM that understands the game and each league rules. You use those rules to your advantage, and I think that's very smart. You've been around Mogul for ages, so having someone so established like you in GBA has really helped me in more ways than you probably realize. So I absolutely agree. Hokie, wow. Hokie has been in, he really has been in Mogul for ages, for a long, long time. So, and he's a super cool guy. I mean, I've talked to him, about some baseball trades here and there. Yeah, super cool guy. Definitely been around for a long time. One of the best that I've ever seen, for sure. Sixer, he goes on to talk about Sixer. He says, we don't know each other that well, but it's always good to see GMs from the other league migrate over to GBA and give a league with a different style a try. I'm glad you didn't blow up my former team, and I hope you continue to enjoy yourself. And maybe, just maybe, you can win one for the Gipper. So I don't know Sixer too much. He is definitely a really cool dude from what I know. So hopefully you are having fun here. Then he goes on to thank Percy. Did I already do this one? I don't think I did. Well, for being new to Mogul, you've really caught on fast, and you've had one of the best teams in the league since you got here. Active GMs like you are what Mogul needs more of, and you've been a welcome addition. So this is what I was going on about earlier. The new guys. Percy, I honestly didn't even know you were new. I honestly thought you've been around for quite a while. Just seeing the way that you built your team and that you negotiate in trades. So super cool, man. I like I said, I honestly didn't know you were new. If you do need somebody to talk to, man, I'm always here. But it seems like you know exactly what you're doing. So super cool on that. He goes on to thank Ryan. From the talks I've had with you, you seem like a good guy. You love to trade, and you're always quick to respond to my messages. I think you're getting better at Mogul as time goes on, and I wish you the best of luck on your rebuild in Orlando. As for my personal opinions on Ryan, I have none. Six. He goes on to thank Six. When I first joined NAM, you were one of the GMs I'd talked to the most. But as time went on, we kind of lost touch. We didn't always agree on everything, but overall, I felt like we had a positive relationship. And I think before you know it, you'll be the cream of the crop in our division, NAM. And I hope you enjoy similar success to what I've had recently. So, good old Six. I met Six back in BLM a few years ago. Really, really, really cool guy. I mean, Poldi goes on to say, they didn't always agree on everything. Honestly, if you guys don't know Six and you don't agree on something with him, just mention something funny and, you're best of friends. He's a really cool guy, and he's easy to get along with. I don't see how people fucking get pissed off at him. I mean, this guy's freaking probably toking it right now as we speak. And when he listens to this, he's probably toking it at that time too. He's super cool. So next up, he goes on to thank Big Wit. He says, I barely know you, but you joined GBA and you've been an active member ever since. I think you have a good idea of what you're doing, and I hope you continue to enjoy yourself. Yeah, I don't know Big Wit too much either. I think I talked to him a few times, maybe once, but seems like a cool guy. I hope if you ever need anything, let me know. Next up, he goes on to thank Mid-Missourians, aka Dave, and he says, well, what can I say? We've had our ups and downs, and we disagree on most everything, and I feel like you're one of the most argumentative people on planet Earth. With that being said, I think you do have a passion for Mogul, and I respect that. I also respect that I also respect your say. I also respect that you're a say it to my face type of person rather than behind the back guy. While we may never be each other's favorite person, I do wish you all the luck in the world in keeping NAM up to the standards that Rocky had set. So I don't know Dave all that well. I mean, but I do know that he is definitely one of the most argumentative people on planet Earth. On plain Earth, I should say. I'm going to get some shit for that, aren't I? But in all seriousness, he seems like a cool guy. A lot of people seem to not like that he is so argumentative. But at the same time, that's what really makes Mogul interesting, is when people can come in and bring in different opinions and also discuss those opinions like men, not a bunch of jackasses. So, shouts out to Dave there. Next one up, Ms. Zelinsky. I don't know, I'm just gonna call you Mizzy. You seem like a lighthearted person who really never has problems with anyone. And ever since we got on Discord, you've always been quick to respond to any messages or tags. While my one minor complaint would be that you don't put forth the same effort into GBA and NAM as you do FCM, I do understand that you've been with that league 8 years now, and you're very passionate about it. I have noticed an uptick recently, and I think you'll notice that the more you put into it, the more you'll get out of it. Anyways, don't take that the wrong way. I think you're a cool customer, and I appreciate your participation. So, yeah. So I absolutely agree about that with Mizzy. He does seem like a really lighthearted person who doesn't have any problems with anybody. I mean, I had a small gripe with him a couple weeks ago, and yeah, it's obviously, I mean, I'm over it, really. It's just more like I had no reason to really be mad at him because he is a really cool guy, and he definitely doesn't put forth the same effort in GBA and probably NAM as he does FCM because FCM is so competitive. So, I mean, I was in there for a little bit, and I know exactly how competitive it can get. It's a really competitive league, and it can be fun at times for sure, but it's just one of those like, hey, I'm trying to be at the top of this league because I feel like, that's what's going to put me at the top of Mogul. So he goes on to talk about NW. He says, where you at? Haha, a joke. But seriously, where the fuck are you, NW? No, seriously. He continues to go on, I know you're a busy fella. GBA is waiting for you whenever you're ready. NW, you joined GBA and you never showed up. Then you joined MLR and then you never showed up. So fuck you. No, seriously, you're a cool dude. I still talk to you every once in a while, so I have nothing to say to you because I've already said it to you and your mother. Kane, he goes on to talk to Kane, Kain, not Mayor of Knox County Kane. This is actually a local GM friend of his. He says, my local GM friend, I hope everything is going well with you, and whenever you're ready to make your highly anticipated return, I'm sure GBA will be there calling you in. I've known Kane for quite some time, ever since BLM. He's a great guy. He's going through a lot of shit, and I wish him the best. I do hope you come back around, Kane, if you ever listen to this. Rocky, he goes on to talk about Rocky. You might not see this, but if you do, I want you to know I learned more about Mogul from you more than anyone. We've had multiple 5+ hour talks, and they went by in a flash. We think a lot alike, and whatever you're doing now, I hope you find happiness. I don't know Rocky all that well, but yeah, I've always known him as the guy to really, I guess I can't say rebel against FCM, but he was really the guy that really made a stand and really made a nice league out of NAM to what it is now. He goes on to talk about the folks at MLR. So I'm currently in that league as well as one of the unofficial commissioners. Keep doing your thing and enjoying playing with yourselves. I'm just kidding. It doesn't say that. Oh, man. Keep doing your thing and enjoying yourselves playing Mogul. Don't play with yourselves. Unless you want to. That's just my take. One of the things I'm most proud of about Mogul is getting the last survivors of BLM and MLR together in order to keep your league going. I'm happy to see you're still alive and kicking. I hope you guys keep going for a long time, and if you ever shut down, hopefully some of you will migrate to other leagues in order to keep the community alive. Yeah, I can definitely say, when BLM died, it was definitely one of the shittiest things because I'm like, man, I'm going to have to go to one of these other leagues, and I really don't want to. I had a little falling out with FCM, so going back, it wasn't really in the plans. And I also didn't have the same love for GBA as I do now. As I talked about earlier, there was a little rough patch, and I just didn't have that same trust at the time. So honestly, I thought I was done with Mogul. I really thought I was done with Mogul at the time. But they rebranded. We started going into Discord, and BLM and MLR got together, and honestly, I can say that MLR is one of the coolest fucking people. Those guys that came from fake baseball, you guys are honestly the coolest guys that I've ever played Mogul with, because of the simple fact everybody brings something different to the table, and everybody jokes and has a great time. And if you are an MLR and you aren't having a great time, please message me. I will do absolutely anything in my power to make it fun for you, because it really, truly, for me, is one of the funnest leagues I've ever been a part of. And it's not just because, I have fun winning. No, you guys are just something else. For sure. Like, family, like, it's hard to say. It's really cool. He also goes on to thank Discorders. The Discorders. Forget about the championships I won at NAM or the success I've had as a GM in GBA. My greatest accomplishment at Mogul will always be getting everyone together on Discord in order to integrate the communities. While it didn't work out perfectly, I still feel the world's better than Exat was. Now we're all in one place, and if you choose, you can ever communicate through other devices like your phones. If you choose to, you can communicate through other devices like your phone. That's just my bad. I would say that a large majority of you were skeptical at best when I pushed to make the switch, but I think it's clear to everyone that this was the right move. I wish you and your families all the best, and I hope to continue to use Mogul. I hope you continue to use Mogul in the same way that I did, as a welcome distraction to all things in life that we cannot control. He goes on to also finish it off. I will say, Poldi is definitely a pioneer, Mogul innovator in bringing everybody into Discord. The really kind of the founders of that were NW and SEM, because SEM was in so just a quick story. SEM was in BLM with us, active every single day, and then all of a sudden just didn't see him. He came on every once in a while, and then he finally one day just left. He said a lot of it had to do with personal stuff that went on in his life, and I know about a few of those things. So once again, I'm not going to share them, but we ended up trying to find him like a few months later. Like, what the hell has he been up to? We haven't talked to him. And then I remember NW messaging me and sending me a link and saying, I found him. And I'm like, who? And found who? And he's like, I found Mike, SEM. And I'm like, what the hell? So I remember clicking on the page, taking us to Fake Baseball. And I'm reading this thing, and I'm like, this is like WWE but for baseball. It was ridiculous. Like, everything seemed scripted out. But come to find out, it was actually a competitive baseball league, but mainly just text-based, luck-based, numbers-based. It was super cool, and I found myself actually joining it. And then SEM started coming around a little bit. I believe he took a team, but it was NW's like vision to bring in guys from MLR or Fake Baseball or the Reddit community or the Discord community into BLM, into Exat, and also into Mogul. However, it became the other way around. After they made that league of MLR with a lot of new guys, it ended up being BLM coming over to MLR. Super cool. And that was really facilitated by Poldi because of the simple fact that he found himself in Discord like, this is where we gotta go. And I remember telling Poldi, like, hey man, like, Discord is the future, like, of Mogul, because of the simple fact that Exat had been outdated by like 10 years. 10 years it's been outdated, but it's been used in Mogul leagues for a good 15, if I'm not mistaken. It's been around forever, but it's definitely one of the most outdated JavaScripts of all time. Besides JavaScript itself, I think it was a Flash. Wasn't it a Flash program? I don't remember exactly, but what I do remember is talking to him about that, like, this is the future because of the simple fact that forums are kind of becoming obsolete because of Discord, which is cool. There's all the leagues except for MLR are still under the forum regimen, which is fine, which is perfectly fine with me. And but Exat was finally time to go, because Discord brought everything to the table that you needed. You could talk trade instantly. You didn't have to go to PM and wait for that person to message you back. You didn't have to wait for that person to get on an Exat and then DM him. No, you could DM the person, and you guys could just be chilling at work, doing your daily lives, talking Mogul, doing trades. That's super freaking awesome, if you ask me. So, once again, Poldi was really the pioneer that brought it all together. And when he talked about it didn't go perfect at first, was because of the fallout that, the Sports Mogul Discord had with FCM. But, I mean, I have my own opinions about that, and I'd rather not talk about it. But they're still using Discord. I mean, they're in their own Discord, but, I mean, when has FCM not been on their own doing stuff? Super cool. So he finishes off with, it may not be soon, but someday, unless I get tossed overboard, I will be back to say hi at the very least. If time allows it, I may even join a league. But the foreseeable future, I will not be around. I know I've already said it, but saying it again doesn't hurt. I don't think of you as just online friends. I think of you as real people, and I wish all of you and your families well. Take care of yourselves, and when playing Mogul, enjoy yourselves. So that was the end of his post, and there is some other posts, from other people replying. If you do want to reply to that post, I will probably put it in the I will probably end up putting it in the description of this. I guess it's probably going to be a YouTube video, because I really don't put it anywhere else. But yeah, Poldi, man, it's been a pleasure. I'm glad that you did this this post here, because it's super cool. It shows that you really did enjoy the presence of everybody that was around, because I know how it is. In the boat that you're in, as you said, no pun intended. And I've told you in private that I really think that you are destined for bigger and better things, because you just have that kind of mindset. You probably just haven't been able to harness it around something quite yet. And I can guarantee you that it will happen if you continue trying. Just remember, you don't take, you miss all the shots you don't take. And I don't really have anything else to say about that, because I ran out of fucking quotes already, even though I just gave one fucking quote. So yeah. But yeah, seriously, super cool what you did there. I don't know too much about what you're doing besides what I've seen on Deadliest Catch. Just like what you said, what you've seen on Deadliest Catch, that's all you've ever seen or known about what you're about to go do. And it is definitely going to be stressful work, but I hope you make every second count. I hope the people that you meet, the fights that you get in, the punches you throw, the friendships you make, the relationships you make, the family you make, it's all worth it. So yeah. So, and if all of a sudden you just have cold feet and you end up coming back tomorrow, I have no problem with that. No, but seriously, it's probably your time to move on. And I think it's super cool that you're doing what you're doing. Like I said, if you've made it this far, you're probably wondering, like, you're probably, like I said, you're probably wondering still, if you are probably wondering still, why I am doing this. I'm kind of using this as really a way to kind of show people that, the Mogul community is still live and kicking, and that it's a great place to be. The last thing I'd ever want to do is drive people out. I've done it before in the past, and that person never came back, thankfully. No, but seriously, but I kind of want to just say, like, this post should go to show a lot of you guys that this isn't just a game for a lot of us. That there's real life implications that hang on the ballots, whether it's through depression, or whether it's for just for fun. If you're lonely, if you're not lonely and you just want to occupy your time trying to show off and just trying to be the best you can, that's cool too. That's what this is all about. You make Mogul in the Mogul community what it is. You make it what you want. I've probably heard that a million times. You make what the opportunities that people give you. You make it what it is. But it's extremely true, and I feel like I said, this little story, this podcast, thank you once again, Poldi, because once again, it kind of puts in perspective what really this community means. And I hope that everybody knows out there that no matter what you're going through, no matter, if you're having a great time in your life or if you're having a really bad time in your life, the door's always open to me. And if you ever need to talk, if you ever need a friend, if you ever need anything at all, you can always hit me up. I won't send you money, but I will send you a picture of money, because that's the best I can do at the moment. But seriously, yeah, that's kind of where we're at. So once again, I just want to thank Poldi for putting this all up and making Discord the future of Mogul, because it truly is the future of Mogul. I remember, being in BLM thinking, or just looking up different chats that were like Exat, and just trying to find something that would make everything so much better. And I'm glad that they found Discord, because Discord has really changed the entire landscape of Mogul. A lot of the old fucks didn't end up making it over because they were all butthurt about, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. That's bullshit. The old dogs don't learn new tricks because they don't want to learn new tricks. And if that's how they would feel, then that's great. And I still talk to those guys, and those old fucks are still the greatest to hang out with. But yeah, I'm just glad that Discord did come around, because Mogul's been a dying brand for quite some time. And yeah, I'm just glad that it's still running, it's still going. I do think that there could be one more super power league that runs 30 teams. I still think that can come out and rival an FCM. MLR, I think, is a great place, because everybody knows everybody. They're all familiar with each other. And then the ones that weren't familiar, like myself, fit right in because of the simple fact that they were just such great people to hang out with. GBA brought in a lot of new people. Same with NAM. They kind of had the same people, but they, there's probably people that aren't in both of them, which is super cool. FCM, they got all 30 teams from what I remember, and I think that's super cool too. But this is me leaving the door open for one more run at a big universal league that can really make shit happen, that can really set the tone for leagues going forward. Because right now, 18 teams is perfectly fine, but if people want competition, I love to give competition. And I have nothing against GBA. I have nothing against MLR. And I have nothing against NAM. And I know that everybody's putting their time in to create those big leagues. And it's hard to create those big leagues. I get it. But once again, if we really want 30 teams in one ginormous league, I still think it could happen. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. So once again, guys, thank you everybody for listening. If you did listen this far, I mean, it's probably been kind of long and, long and hard. That's what she said, as we've gone through. But I do hope that everybody did enjoy this. I hope everybody has fun playing Mogul. If you don't have fun playing Mogul, please message me. I'd love to find out why. I'd love to figure it out, help you find ways to cope of anything here in Mogul or in life, because I know life can get tough sometimes, but you know, I guess without going into propaganda bullshit, I feel like the media puts out a lot of YOLO. You only live once. Life is short. Do whatever you want. Do whatever you can. But in reality, life is long and fulfilling. And with that being said, I'm out, guys. Keep it flat. Keep it real. Have fun. Take care of yourselves. And see you in the next one. Executioner